So we'll just YouTube Kids thing is fairly complicated and also kind of stupid.
Yep.
Momo is number one on this. The fact that YouTube Kids comment sections are now going to be completely locked down and removed because of pedophilia in the YouTube Kids area. And just stuff of that sort has been plaguing YouTube Kids for like a year now, at least. And it all came to light because of like one YouTuber whose name I don't specifically remember. And it basically led to another adpocalypse for a short period of time. I mean, most of those people went back to YouTube after YouTube said they were going to basically block all comments on YouTube Kids videos. But it did lead to a couple of YouTubers getting demonetized for having fucking a comment section. For fucking having a comment section.
Yeah, I mean, there's been like a few things around like YouTube Kids. So it's just like I guess it's just one of those things where it's like because it's almost like it's almost like a platform of its own.
Yeah. It's a complicated situation to say the least. How do y'all feel about this? Like there's a lot, and we have 15 minutes, so we might as well just break this apart.
Yeah.
Like, I guess we can start with like the first part of this. Like, what do you feel about how bad it got to begin with? Like, particularly the pedophilia section and the Momo-kun stuff. Is it Momo-kun or is it just Momo? Did I add the kun myself? Am I watching too much
I thought you were drinking anti-nerd, I guess, weeb serum.
I didn't watch Mob Psycho this week. I should have. But yeah, what do you guys think? How do we start?
I'm impressed it got that bad to begin with. Like, I know the whole, like, there's the whole thing where basically YouTube Kids is just, oh, I need to go do something, so I'm going to set my kid up with an iPad and just hope for the best. Which is not great to begin with, but, like, you know, it's just what people do. So, like, I know, it's kind of just a thing where, like, it's very easily exploitable. That's why, like, there's Baby Shark and things that have, like, 1 billion trillion views. But, like, generally, like, I feel like they should just, like, monitor it a little bit more. I feel like you need to, like, have, like, a physical person watch it before it becomes eligible for YouTube Kids.
Yep.
Or, like, something. Like, I know that doesn't always work, but I feel like it'd be, like, an extra step in making sure that people aren't, like, putting, like, suicide instructions in YouTube Kids. Because people are terrible.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. Just because it's like there definitely needs to be just like better supervision, because it's not as if that YouTube is fine and it's just YouTube Kids that's just running wild. It's that like both of them are really just like are under siege, because YouTube also just has like a lot of alt-right and neo-Nazi propaganda kind of just like beating the algorithm. And and those are getting people that are like just as susceptible as like these kids are. So you definitely want to make sure that it's just monitored better. And just as far as like the whole pedophilia thing goes, I mean, like there was just articles, like there's like not articles but just like there was like a few articles, but there was a lot of like news going around about how like Little Miss Flint was also getting like private Instagram DMs from like grown adults. And so it's like fortunately like the Instagram is like mainly ran by like her parents. So it's just the internet in general, like like a lot of things that just have kids just have to be very careful.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, that's fair. I guess going off of that, Jay, do you have anything to add to it, or are you just
I mean, it's my personal belief that if anybody grown is messaging a little child in any kind of sexual manner, or even thinking about that kind of stuff, any form of pedophilia for that, they should be castrated. So that's just how I feel.
No, I don't disagree with you. Okay, so let's go one step further here, right? What do you think about YouTube's response to this? It's the general response is that they're removing the comment sections from most YouTube Kids videos. Some channels will get to keep their comment sections, but it's because YouTube knows that those channels have handled their comment sections well. It feels a little weird, but and keeping this in mind, how do you feel about the fact that channels have been demonetized because of this? And what should YouTube do to make up for that, if anything?
I think that the demonetization, as well as just like taking down the comment section, is not really the right solution for that stuff, just because it's like whether it be pedophiles or just like people that are shit like Nazis and stuff like that, it doesn't really get rid of them, it just moves them somewhere else.
Yep.
So it's kind of just like maybe focus more on the people doing these comments instead of just because it's still a feedback system too. So it's kind of just like I think focusing more on just like taking a deeper look into the people that are using this site and like making these comments instead of like trying to get rid of it altogether is just always the better way to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's fair. How do you feel, Jay?
I mean, it's weird because YouTube says that they're giving people comment sections who handle themselves well, their comment sections back. I think they should be doing this for all channels as far as like monetization goes. Like, you shouldn't be penalizing every single channel. I mean, other than the ones that are obviously causing problems. Because that in general is just not fair. But as far as getting rid of the YouTube comment section, I agree with that. Kids shouldn't be having comment sections like that to begin with anyway. There's no real need to have a YouTube Kids comment section, especially since, like Angelo said, most of what it's used for is to just keep them occupied while parents have other things to do. So it's not like they need to have that added level of, well, we should be worried about them because of XYZ happening in the comment section. So I mean, to just in order for them to continue to uphold you have to like look at the channels who've got to keep their comment section and ask them how they did that. What kind of monitoring system do they have? How often are they engaging with their community, and in what ways are they engaging with their communities, and look to implement that across the platform.
Yeah.
In order to be more active about getting rid of these people than just removing the means of contacting these kids in an immediate sense.
So I guess like Jay, like, do you think like I don't know, like I feel like that's like I agree, but I definitely think like I feel like a comments like I don't think there's anything inherently wrong in comments, especially because it's not just about that the adults can't contact them, but it's also like the other kids or viewers can't either. And so it's like I feel like something that would maybe be helpful is like maybe if the default is that there's no comment section versus like taking it away. Like if you want to, you can, versus like just like how like for us, like even like in regular YouTube, like you can choose to not have it, but it's just like but you can choose to like take it away. So it's like like just like the inverse of that.
So you mean just like all the not giving anybody on YouTube Kids a comment section?
No, but like making where it's like the default is that there's no comment section. So like if you want to have a comment section, you have to go and edit it versus making it not an option at all. So like for those who do have a way of like moderating their comment section, it doesn't go away for them. Or for people who feel like it's like, okay, like I have an idea and I'm comfortable with this, I can now like have it open versus just like not having the option at all.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really think like I can see where you're going with that, but then it still creates the issue of, well, if they're like putting up videos to begin with, right? It's just as easy in that sense to upload a video as it is to turn on the comments for it. And then you're circling right back around to the problem of, well, comment section are being like monitored. So yeah, they can put it on, but like there's still the issue of if you don't have the system in place to monitor them to begin with, the problem's not going to go away. It's just another way to circumvent the issue, only to have it come back around. You know what I mean? Which is why I don't necessarily think there needs to be a comment section at all to begin with. And for the channels that are keeping, their comment sections, to look at their methodology and try to apply that to the whole of YouTube and not just to YouTube Kids, because then maybe we could have less toxic YouTube comment sections as a whole. So.
Yeah, no, like I definitely like agree. That's what I mean. Like it's like, but I think is regards to just like the user base of like by having it as the default or whatever. Like I feel like for maybe like for people our age or whatever, like we might look in for the section, but a lot of these content makers or like for some of these, for the bulk of the audience or whatever, is usually just like kids and stuff, and kids doing this with their parents. So it's like for them, it's just like I've seen like friends, like the younger siblings, they just like make a video and put it up. Like they're not doing the analytics or like the SEO tagging or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So like for them, by having the default or whatever, they're not gonna know that you could even do that you couldn't do that in the first place.
Well, I mean, if you have the know-how to upload a video to YouTube to begin with as a child, it's one Google step away from being able to figure that out too. Like it's not. Do you understand what I mean? You just push a button and suddenly you have a comment section. I don't think it's like I get the logic here, but kids and technology these days is evolving a lot faster than what most people think.
Oh yeah, like I know, like that's what I mean. Like I'm speaking like this is purely anecdotal. Like having seen kids like use YouTube, or like it's not real. Like it's more so like the like they just want to like get it up there. So like by having the deep, and like for some people like yeah, like even though it's like kids, it's like they might do a Google search. It's like there's like a lot of adults and stuff. Like I work at a library that have doctorates and masters and everything, but they can't do, but they get stuck too. So it's like I think some kids
they can't do what?
You said what?
You said what? They can't do what? You cut out.
Yeah, no, they can't but they can't even when they want to do things that are video, they just want to skip straight through to getting it up. Whether getting like their like lectures and stuff like that. So I think like with some people, it's just like getting the content up.
I don't know. Like I understand where, but I also still kind of disagree. Like I get where you're going with that, but I don't.
Oh no, that's fine. Like I'm not really trying to convince you or anything like that. But I do but yeah, I guess it's just one of those it's very hard to see what to do when it comes to these internet tools, just because they're so relatively new. Like YouTube is still an array, Twitter's an array, everything's an array.
The world is on fire.
Yeah.
How about yours?
On fire. I'm gonna fucking play that song now. But, I guess I have one more question that I want opinions on. After all of this happened, YouTube's first reaction was to demonetize a couple channels for their comment sections and not for any of their content. How do you feel about that in particular? And do you think YouTube should have taken that route and made the channels responsible for their comment sections? And if you disagree, do you think YouTube is responsible for, I don't know, repaying the channels or something? I don't think it's going to happen, but should YouTube have some responsibility added on, in your opinion, in the perfect world?
Yeah, it's a double-edged sword. There is no perfect world in this situation because, just the ideas Devin and I were tossing back and forth. It's more like, it's to say that, YouTube has already kind of made up their mind that they're expecting channels to be responsible for their comment section just solely based on the decision that they made to allow some channels to keep their comment section, based on how they're moderated. YouTube has already pretty much said, yeah, we're holding you accountable for the things that other people say on your channel, regardless of whether or not you've approved of that. Which is rough because how are you supposed to control, you know, in that kind of environment, what people say, you know, especially since free speech and all that has been a really big issue on YouTube for a while now. But it's also like I sort of agree with the way YouTube decided to go about this, because if there is a possibility that channels can moderate the section of their channels, which has been proven since YouTube is letting them keep their comment section, then yeah, channels should take some form of responsibility and making sure that, especially like in this specific instance, I don't mean like in the whole of YouTube because that's ridiculous, that these whatever's being said in their comment section is child friendly. But also at the same time demonetizing the other to enact that same methodology doesn't necessarily make any sense, because some of these channels, like I can imagine some of the channels that are keeping their sections are bigger channels that have the ability and the free time to monitor their comments, which is fine. Then what about, I don't know, then what about the mom and the child who do toy unboxing videos maybe once a week and use that money to go to the movies or whatever? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It kind of limits their creativity and their ability to create things on YouTube and, you know, stimulate that child's creativity. So there is no like real perfect answer for this. I don't necessarily agree with demonetizing channels like the one I just gave an example for, but demonetizing the channels that actively encourage this shit, yeah, obviously delete their fucking channels and get them off YouTube. But YouTube doesn't seem to want to do much digging further than just, yeah, we're just going to reward the people who know what they're doing and demonize the ones who don't. So
Yeah, that's kind of the thing about like much like what Joe was saying. It's usually the demonetizing thing is always gonna affect the smaller content creators, and is gonna be like the bigger ones. Because like much like with like with the moderation stuff like that, it's usually like someone else work like that. Like, and it's like I do think the thing is like a lot of how I feel about the demonetization for comment stuff is like more so something that they should be doing for YouTube more so than YouTube Kids. Just because like on YouTube you have people that like make content that are that like that where it's like you have people who create content that kind of bring out a type of people that like are on some like that bring about that like do like very reckless behavior. It's kind of like people like Gavin McGinnis or whatever, like people like him who make content and they're just like, well, you know, I don't see like they're trying to like disassociate from, you know, like any like alt-right like messaging or Nazi messaging or like PewDiePie and stuff like that, but the content that they make brings that about. And so it's kind of just like in that regard, I think it should be demonetized, because it's like you have people that is like they you know what you're doing. Like it's like if you're trying to bring about like a certain audience, you know what you got to do to get those people in the comment section.
Yeah.
But to base it off of comments alone is also kind of like it's also just like kind of like bad, because it's not necessarily bad, but it's like the thing about like just like demonetizing or like taking away access and features is that it doesn't really solve the problem.
Yeah.
Like it's like, because that like I mean that's kind of how you get the alt-right in the first place. It's like they feel like they can't really do this shit in public, so they just find a place in private to do it.
Yeah.
And I guess like for YouTube, it's like okay, that's fine, just get them away from here. But like they might just use a different part of YouTube. They might use the liking system or just message them directly, because YouTube now is starting to like, you know, integrate like social media like features too, like posting. And now what might happen is it might not even be commenting under the videos, but commenting under the posts or direct messaging those people there.
Yeah.
And then that's when people really get fucking nasty.
YouTube's direct messaging, just for context reasons, is friend only right now.
Yeah.
You have to send a link to someone they have to approve just to be considered a friend of yours on YouTube. So
Right.
thankfully it won't be an issue there, but it will be an issue with posts and stuff for sure, and like discussion and like channel discussion areas and stuff of that sort.
Right, but these are also kids too. Like, have you ever like? That's the thing. Like, that's the thing about like when I was talking about earlier. Like, have you like I know like, but like, have you ever been on Roblox?
I've seen my cousin and my brother play Roblox, and that's about it.
Yeah, but like, have you really like paid attention to what goes on and shit like that?
No, because I haven't. That says a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah, no, like it's like because it's like that's the thing. It's just like even just like how the things go on there. Like it's no different than like what I guess Xbox Live was when we were like coming up, but it's just like you don't really know who, and just like like people are just more susceptible, and they'll just like say, "Oh, you want to be my friend? Yeah, sure." So like I feel like with the system like that, it could definitely be like abused and stuff.
Nah, that makes sense.
Because it's already susceptible for like grown ass adults and like teenagers. So like imagine putting that like with a 7-year-old kid who's just trying to like get their My Little Pony unboxings to go somewhere like.
That's fair. All right, anything else to add to this?
I'm honestly shocked that they just don't have like some form of general like chat block system. Like a lot of like video games do that. Like if you say something like rude, they'll either censor it or like just not post the message or something like that. I'm surprised they don't have something like that. Like
it's
in
even
the
on
comment
Twitch
section already. Yeah. Like like just put a couple of words. I feel like that would be like a simple fix. I mean, like it would definitely need a lot more work because there's a lot of words that you might want to censor.
Right.
But I also think it's like I think the system that they have currently is really dumb with the whole like if someone posts a rude comment in your comment section, you could potentially get demonetized for it because like let's say I absolutely hate Markiplier. I have a seething hatred for Markiplier. I don't, but let's say for this example I do. What's to stop me from following him and every single video just posting a stream of curse words to get him demonetized so like the millions of people that actually like his content can enjoy it? You know? I've always found that to be a little weird about the whole thing. Like if enough people do that could be like detrimental to a YouTuber's career, and it's just like you could have like millions of people like you, but like 50 edgelords could just ruin that for you, you know?
Actually, that actually does happen to someone. Like one of like a YouTuber named like he used to be like in like a fighting community. Dude's like named like Darkside Phil or whatever.
Oh, that dude.
Yeah, like he talks about
Mr.
that. Yeah, I remember like hearing about like him like just talking about that shit. Or like it's very interesting.
That dude is a mess.
Yeah, yeah.
To say
sad
the
life.
least.
Yeah.
Your boy jerked off on camera.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah, trying to fucking play Turtles in Time to get out of a mortgage.
Oh yeah. I know who you're talking about now.
That's an absolute mess. Like
that's the true YouTube Kids content.
He is a fascinating guy, but for all the wrong reasons.
Right.
Right.
Like I love this is how you not play series. Those are so
All right, guys. Anything else before we end this topic?
I think we're good.
Yeah.
All right. So let me just end this timer.